Imagine swallowing a pill made of nothing but sugar and then watching your chronic knee pain dissolve, your blood pressure drop, and your body flood itself with real, measurable painkillers. And every single bit of that actually happened in controlled scientific trials to real people. That is not magic, and it is not a glitch. That is your brain doing exactly what it was built to do. The placebo effect is one of the most misunderstood and underestimated forces in all of psychology and medicine, and for a long time scientists treated it like an embarrassing footnote, something to be subtracted from results so we could get to the real data. But over the last 3 decades, researchers have slowly realized that the placebo effect is the real data. It is a window straight into the mechanics of how belief, expectation, and meaning physically reshape your body at the molecular level. And here is what makes this genuinely startling. The effect works even when people know they are taking a placebo. Even when you are fully aware the pill is fake, something in your nervous system still responds. So what is actually going on under the hood? Why does your brain take a thought, something as thin and invisible as an expectation, and translate it into chemistry? And what does that tell us about who is really running the show inside your own head? Stick with this, because the science goes places that feel almost impossible. And every single claim here is backed by peer-reviewed research. When you take a placebo painkiller, your brain does not simply convince itself nothing hurts. It actually manufactures its own opioids. Researchers at the University of Michigan confirmed this using PET scans, brain imaging that tracks chemical activity in real time. Participants given a fake painkiller showed a genuine release of endorphins, the same natural opioids your body produces after intense exercise, and those endorphins bound to the exact same neural receptors that a real painkiller would target. This is not metaphorical pain relief. This is pharmacological pain relief triggered entirely by expectation. The mechanism extends well beyond pain. Studies on Parkinson's disease patients found that placebos could stimulate the release of dopamine, the neurotransmitter that Parkinson's progressively destroys. Patients moved more fluidly, their tremors decreased, and their motor function measurably improved after a placebo injection simply because they believed they were receiving real treatment. Their brains essentially turned on a dopamine faucet in response to expectation alone. There is also strong evidence that placebo can influence immune function. Researchers at the University of Rochester conditioned participants to associate a distinctive flavored drink with an immune-suppressing drug. After the conditioning phase, participants who drank the flavor alone, no drug whatsoever, still showed measurable immune suppression. The brain had learned to trigger that response the same way Pavlov's dogs learned to salivate at a bell. What this tells us is profound. The brain is not passively receiving your experiences. It is actively predicting them, and then physically preparing your body for what it expects to find. That predictive machinery is powerful enough to rewrite your internal chemistry on the fly. Here is something researchers did not expect to find. The size, color, and even the price of a placebo dramatically change how well it works. A large red pill outperforms a small white one for stimulation. 2 capsules outperform 1. A placebo injection works better than a placebo pill, and in one particularly striking study, patients who were told their painkiller cost $2.50 per dose reported significantly less relief than patients given the exact same inert pill but told it cost $25 per dose. Same sugar, wildly different outcomes. What is happening is that your brain is not just responding to the substance, it is responding to the entire ritual and context surrounding it. The white coat on the doctor, the clinical smell of the room, the authoritative language on the leaflet, the act of swallowing something, all of these are cues that your brain has learned through years of conditioning to associate with healing. When those cues are present, the brain begins its preparatory response before any real drug even enters the picture. This helps explain why bedside manner matters so much in medicine. A landmark 2008 study published in the British Medical Journal randomly assigned patients with irritable bowel syndrome to one of 3 groups: no treatment, a placebo acupuncture session with minimal interaction, or a placebo acupuncture session delivered with warmth, attention, and a caring conversation. The 3rd group showed dramatically better outcomes than the other 2, even though no group received real treatment. The human connection itself was functioning as part of the pharmacological delivery system. The healer is, in a very literal neurological sense, part of the medicine. Now we arrive at the finding that really scrambles your intuitions. For decades, the assumption was that the placebo effect depended on deception. You had to believe you were getting real treatment for the illusion to hold. That assumption collapsed in 2010 when Ted Kaptchuk and his team at Harvard Medical School ran what is now a landmark trial. They openly told patients with irritable bowel syndrome that they would be receiving placebo pills, honest-to-goodness sugar pills with 0 active ingredient, and then gave those pills to half the group while the other half received no treatment at all. The patients who knowingly took the fake pills still reported nearly twice the symptom improvement of the no treatment group. They knew. They were told. It still worked. This result has since been replicated in chronic lower back pain, cancer-related fatigue, and attention difficulties in adults. Open-label placebos consistently outperform no treatment, and the effect sizes are not trivial. What appears to be happening is that the conscious, rational awareness that a pill is inert does not switch off the deeper, older, more automatic conditioning systems in your nervous system. Those systems have learned, through thousands of repetitions across your lifetime, that the act of taking a pill and being cared for by someone leads to feeling better. That learning is stored below the level of conscious belief, and it fires whether your thinking brain agrees or not. This is one of the clearest demonstrations we have that the subconscious is not just an abstract concept from a psychology textbook. It is a physical system running its own programs, and those programs can heal you. So where does this leave you? Not as a medical patient, but as a person moving through an ordinary day. The research on placebo is ultimately research on expectation, ritual, and the biological weight of meaning, and those forces are active in your life whether you are aware of them or not. When you frame a workout as a burden you are dragging yourself through, your body responds differently than when you frame it as a meaningful act of care for yourself. A 2007 study by Leah Crum at Harvard found that hotel maids who were informed that their daily cleaning work met the recommended guidelines for physical activity showed significant decreases in weight, blood pressure, and body mass index compared to a control group, even though neither group changed their actual behavior. The information alone, the shift in how they understood what they were already doing, produced measurable physical change. This means that the stories you tell yourself about what your experiences mean are not just motivational fluff. They are inputs into a biological system that is listening and responding. When you establish a small, consistent ritual around something you want your body or mind to do, a specific mug before you focus, a certain playlist before you exercise, a brief moment of intention before sleep, you are quite literally programming your predictive brain to prepare the right internal conditions before you even begin. The placebo effect is not a trick your brain plays on you. It is the clearest proof we have that your brain is always actively constructing your reality. And once you understand that, you stop being a passive recipient of your experiences and start being something far more interesting, the architect of them. If this video shifted something for you, please hit like and subscribe, because there is a great deal more of this kind of science waiting for you on this channel.